When the phrase "Black history in the United States" is tossed around, it's often accompanied by images of slavery, Jim Crow laws, and a general struggle against adversity. Now, don't get us wrong. These chapters are crucial in understanding the roots of this nation. But there's more to the story. Hidden beneath the weighty narratives of hardship are tales of incredible resilience and innovation. Take a moment to appreciate the cities that have become icons in their own right. We've got the bustling commercial epicenter that is New York, the technological marvel of Los Angeles, and then there's Chicago, the Windy City, home to the world's first skyscraper and an array of sports attractions that could make your head spin faster than a Chicago-style pizza twirl. But what if I told you that this city, with all its architectural wonders and cultural charm, owes its existence to the actions of a single, somewhat unsung hero, who wasn't exactly the poster child for historical recognition? In this video, we're turning back the clock, setting our time-traveling DeLorean to 1780. Picture a time when blackbacks were breaking under the oppressive weight of the slave trade, working tirelessly to churn out cotton and build the American economy. Yet, amid this struggle, a remarkable black man made a discovery that would eventually house millions of people, shaping the destiny of a city we now know as Chicago. So buckle up, time travelers. We're about to unveil a tale that might just flip your historical perspective like a pancake at a Chicago brunch spot. Also, as a way of supporting the channel, hit the like button of the video, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow. Your support means a lot to us. In 1619, a significant chapter in history unfolded within the British colonies, which would later morph into the United States. Picture this. A ship arrives, and on its deck are the first African Americans, not as willing settlers but as captives. This moment marked the beginning of a dark era, the birth of American slavery. From that point forward, having black skin meant more than just a difference in pigment. It meant a life bound by chains of servitude. White Americans, in their quest to justify this deeply ingrained practice, turned to every conceivable means. They argued that enslavement was for the greater good of the nation, conveniently using religion as their moral compass. The argument that slavery was for the nation's benefit echoed through the corridors of power, resonating with those who held the reins. Economic interests, driven by the exploitation of human labor, became the backbone of this insidious system. The wealth amassed from the toil of enslaved individuals served as a foundation upon which the nation built itself. And then there was the Bible, wielded as a tool to sanctify the unsanctionable. The selective interpretation of Scripture became a powerful weapon in the hands of those who sought to justify their oppressive actions. It was a time when moral relativism ran rampant, conveniently adapting religious texts to suit the prevailing narrative of subjugation. Paul's letters and the curse of Ham became twisted justifications for what can only be described as barbarism. As the years rolled on, the heinous institution of slavery persisted, evolving and adapting to the changing tides of society. The dream of freedom remained elusive for those whose only crime was the color of their skin. In this time, the notion of a black man owning a house was a distant dream, let alone founding an entire city. The shackles of slavery seemed unbreakable, and the idea of black individuals playing a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of a community was beyond the wildest imagination. In the midst of the darkness that was the era of slavery, there emerged a figure who would defy the odds and leave an indelible mark on the pages of history. His name was Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable, a black man who dared to do the unthinkable. While the Dutch were laying the foundations of New York City and Vicente Francisco de Sarria was setting the stage for California, it was a black man who would carve out the path for Chicago, a city that would later blossom into a vibrant tapestry of culture, architecture, and culinary delights. Picture the United States in its infancy, a patchwork of colonies, each with its own unique narrative. As the Dutch and Vicente Francisco de Sarria were sowing the seeds of other great cities' future, Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable found himself in the heart of the wilderness that would become Chicago. This was a time when the very notion of a black man making a mark on the land was met with skepticism and disbelief. Today, Chicago stands as a testament to diversity and resilience, a city that has woven itself into the fabric of American identity. Its iconic skyline, adorned with architectural marvels, tells a story of progress and innovation. The vibrant music scene echoes the harmonies of a city that has found its rhythm, while the aroma of deep dish pizza wafts through its neighborhoods, inviting all to indulge in a culinary experience like no other. Yet, in the shadows of this bustling metropolis, the tale of Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable often goes unheard. At a time when the population of Chicago has surged beyond 2 million and its GDP has soared to over $600 billion, it's crucial to reflect on the hidden figure who laid the groundwork for this urban masterpiece. Point du Sable's early life is shrouded in mystery, with no recorded details before the 1770s. We know he was of African descent, but the exact date and place of his birth, as well as information about his parents, remain elusive. Juliet Kinsey, an early pioneer of Chicago, claimed in her 1856 memoir that he hailed from Saint Domingo, now part of Hispaniola. But this assertion has been debated by historians. In 1953, a historical novel suggested that Point du Sable was born in 1745 in Saint-Marc, Saint-Domingue, modern-day Haiti, further adding to the puzzle of his origins. If he indeed entered North America from outside the continent, conflicting accounts exist. Some propose he arrived as a trader through French Canada, while others argue for a southern entry through French Louisiana. The enigma deepens as we explore Point du Sable's family life. On October 27, 1788, in Cahokia, in the Illinois country, he married Kitty Hawa, Christianized to Catherine, in a Catholic ceremony. However, it's likely they were previously wed in the 1770s in a Native American tradition. Together, they had a son named Jean and a daughter named Suzanne. Point du Sable played a crucial role in supporting his family as a frontier trader and settler during a tumultuous period marked by frequent changes in ownership of the former southern dependencies of French Canada and the Illinois country. The region experienced several transitions over 50 years. Notably, in 1779, during the American Revolutionary War, Point du Sable faced adversity. Arrested by British troops at Trail Creek on suspicion of being a patriot, he found himself briefly imprisoned at Fort Michilimackinac. However, a report highlighted his good character and numerous friends who vouched for him. In the following year, he was ordered to be transported to the Pinery on the St. Clair River, north of Detroit, where he managed the woodlands owned by British officer Lieutenant Patrick Sinclair until May 1784. During this period, Point du Sable, along with his family, resided in a cabin at the mouth of the Pine River in what is now the city of St. Clair. In the 1780s, after the United States gained independence, Point du Sable decided to make his home on the north bank of the Chicago River, not far from where it meets Lake Michigan. This decision marked a crucial moment in the history of Chicago. Around May 10, 1790, a traveler named Hugh Heward documented his visit to Point du Sable's dwelling during a journey from Detroit across Michigan and through Illinois. At that time, Point du Sable's place was more than just a home. It was a hub of trade and hospitality. Heward and his party stopped at Point du Sable's house on their way to the Chicago portage. They not only exchanged their canoe for one of Point du Sable's pirogues, but also purchased provisions like bread, flour, and pork from him. By 1794, Point du Sable had established himself as a prominent figure in Chicago. Paris Grignon, another visitor, described him as a large man and a wealthy trader. Point du Sable's impact on the region extended beyond commerce. It reached into his personal life. His granddaughter, Eulalie Pelletier, was born in 1796 at his settlement along the Chicago River. In the year 1800, Point du Sable made a significant decision. He sold his farm to John Kinsey's representative, Jean Lalime, for 6,000 livres. This transaction, documented in a rediscovered bill of sale from 1913, outlined the extensive property Point du Sable owned, including a log cabin filled with fine furniture and paintings, 2 barns, a horse-drawn mill, a bakehouse, a poultry house, a dairy, and a smokehouse. After selling his property in Chicago, Point du Sable moved to St. Charles, west of St. Louis, which was then part of Spanish Louisiana. In this new chapter of his life, he played a key role as the operator of a ferry across the Missouri River, a responsibility commissioned by the colonial governor. Late in life, Point du Sable may have faced challenges that led him to seek public or charitable assistance. On August 28, 1818, he passed away and was laid to rest in an unmarked grave in St. Charles Borromeo Cemetery. The burial register simply described him as nègre, the French word for Negro, without mentioning his origins, parents, or relatives. Over the years, the St. Charles Borromeo Cemetery underwent 2 relocations, and there were suggestions that Point du Sable's remains were also moved. To honor his legacy, a granite marker was erected at the believed gravesite on October 12, 1968, by the Illinois Sesquicentennial Commission. However, a 2002 archaeological investigation, led by the African Scientific Research Institute at the University of Illinois at Chicago, raised questions about the location. Despite efforts using ground-penetrating radar, surveys, and excavation, no evidence of Point du Sable's reinterred remains was found, leaving a mystery surrounding the final resting place of the founder. In the 1850s, historians in Chicago acknowledged Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable as the city's earliest non-native permanent resident. Surprisingly, for a long while, the city didn't give him the recognition he deserved compared to other pioneers. Back in the 19th century, Point du Sable's role seemed to be overshadowed, with credit often wrongly given to Scots-Irish trader John Kinsey, who had purchased his property. It wasn't until 1913 that the city erected a plaque at Kinsey and Pine Streets, commemorating the Kinsey homestead, further diminishing Point du Sable's rightful place in history. Even as late as the planning stages of the 1933 to 1934 Century of Progress International Exposition, few Chicagoans were familiar with Point du Sable. The fair organizers, focusing on the 1803 construction of Fort Dearborn, didn't acknowledge him as the city's historical beginning. However, in 1965, a significant change took place. Pioneer Court, built on the site of Point du Sable's homestead as part of constructing the Equitable Life Assurance Society of America building, became a tangible tribute to the overlooked founder. Recognizing its exceptional value to the nation, the Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable homesite was designated as a National Historic Landmark on May 11, 1977. This site, now located at 401 Michigan Avenue in the Michigan Wacker Historic District, saw the installation of a bronze bust of Point du Sable in 2009, a joint effort by the City of Chicago and private donor Leslie Benodin. In October 2010, the Michigan Avenue Bridge was renamed Du Sable Bridge in honor of Point du Sable, replacing the previous small street named DeSable Street. The year 2021 brought another significant honor as Lakeshore Drive in Chicago was renamed in Point du Sable's honor. The impact of Point du Sable's legacy extends beyond physical monuments. Institutions such as DuSable High School, established in Bronzeville, Chicago, in 1934, have been named in his honor. The DuSable campus now houses the Daniel Hale Williams Prep School of Medicine and the Bronzeville Scholastic Institute. The DuSable Museum of African American History, founded by Margaret Taylor Burroughs and her husband, renamed itself in honor of Point DuSable in 1968. DuSable Harbor, situated at the foot of Randolph Street in downtown Chicago, stands as a testament to his enduring legacy. Meanwhile, DuSable Park, a 3.24-acre urban park in Chicago, eagerly awaits redevelopment after being announced in 1987 by Mayor Harold Washington. Recognizing Point DuSable's contribution, the U.S. Postal Service issued a Black Heritage Series 22-cent postage stamp on February 20, 1987. Through these various tributes, Point DuSable's name lives on, solidifying his place as a crucial figure in the history of Chicago. The Chicago we marvel at today, with its world-renowned architecture, cultural institutions, and diverse neighborhoods, owes a debt of gratitude to Point DuSable. His resilience in the face of societal norms that sought to diminish the worth of Black lives speaks volumes about the strength of the human spirit. In his journey, Point DuSable not only discovered Chicago, but also paved the way for future generations to contribute to the city's rich tapestry. It's a testament to the enduring spirit of individuals like Point DuSable that we now celebrate the diversity and inclusivity that define Chicago. The city stands as a living contradiction to the historical prejudices that sought to limit the potential of Black lives. Point DuSable's legacy is not just a historical footnote, but a foundational chapter in the narrative of a city that continues to evolve and embrace the contributions of all its residents. As we walk the streets of Chicago today, we owe it to Point DuSable to remember the remarkable journey of the man who defied the norms of his time. His story challenges us to reevaluate our understanding of history and appreciate the individuals who, against all odds, shaped the destiny of this incredible city. In every corner of Chicago, from its bustling neighborhoods to its iconic skyline, we find echoes of Point DuSable's legacy, a reminder that the human spirit, when driven by resilience and vision, can transcend the limitations imposed by society. This brings us to the end of this video. Tell us what you think in the comments section, as we are always interested in your thoughts. As always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos to let more people know the truth about Blacks and to hear their own part of the narratives. Thanks for watching.